Hey, welcome! So if you're a freelancer or an entrepreneur, you know that the financial side of things can feel like a total tightrope walk, right? Well, today, we're going to dive into some really cool new models that completely flip the script on how starters can not only survive, but actually thrive.
But first, let's just start with a quick dose of reality. A staggering 67% of all new companies fail within their first 10 years. I mean, think about that. That's 2 out of every 3. It's a tough world out there, and it really feels like the traditional ways of doing things just aren't cutting it.
And that brings us to a really important question. We're always quick to blame the market, or the product, or maybe even the founder. But what if the fundamental financial model, the one we're all taught to follow, is the real problem here? What if the whole game is kind of rigged from the very beginning?
This idea of a rigged game is what we're going to call the starter's trap. For so many new businesses, the journey feels less like an open road to success and way more like a maze that's almost designed for you to get lost in.
I mean, you know the standard playbook, right? You get a loan, which means you're starting day one in debt. Or you hunt for investors, which means giving away a piece of your company before you've even made a real profit. Or you hop onto one of those big freelance platforms and just grind it out, competing with thousands of others in what's usually a race to the bottom on price. So, where's the fundamental flaw in all of this? Well, it boils down to one simple but honestly devastating concept. You are forced to shoulder all of the costs before you have any guaranteed income. You have to build the product, rent the space, pay for marketing, all on the hope that customers will eventually, show up.
And this just creates this massive gap between the promise and the reality. The dream they sell you is one of opportunity and financial backing, but the reality? It's a super high-risk system where all the fierce competition really just ends up benefiting the platforms, the banks, and the already established players. Pretty much everyone but the starter.
And get this, our source material puts it pretty bluntly. The system is described as being purposefully designed to create this exact pressure, which ultimately just serves the people already at the top. It's a pretty sobering thought, isn't it?
Okay, I know, it all sounds pretty bleak, but it doesn't have to be this way. If the old model is broken, well then it's time to build a new one. So what's the alternative?
All right, so here's the first big idea, and it's for businesses. It's a simple but totally radical idea. Secure your income before you take on the major costs. It just creates a much safer, more logical path forward.
It works in 3 basic steps. First, you sell the theory, the big idea, the blueprint for your product or service. Step 2, you get purchase commitments from customers who buy into that idea. And only then, once you have enough of those commitments to know you're viable, do you move to step 3, putting the theory into practice and actually building and delivering the thing.
Now, you might be thinking, hey, isn't this just crowdfunding? And that's a fair question, but not quite. With this commitment model, money is only transferred after the customer gets their product, and the real development work happens after you've secured the commitments. This is a huge difference, and it dramatically lowers the risk for everyone involved, especially consumers. It's more like a long-term security blanket, not a one-time gamble.
The bottom line is that this creates a genuine win-win. The business knows what its turnover is going to be from the get-go, which takes off a ton of financial pressure. And at the same time, customers can commit without any fear because they know their money is totally safe until they get what they paid for. Okay, so that's for businesses, but what about individual freelancers? Let's look at the second model, which is built on this really powerful idea of solidarity. It's called pay by capacity.
The concept is actually pretty simple, but it's kind of profound when you think about it. Everyone who uses your service pays something, but the amount isn't this rigid fixed number. Instead, it's based on what each client can genuinely afford. This makes your skills accessible to absolutely everyone, from a tiny struggling startup to a big successful company. It just breaks down all those financial barriers.
And here's what's so cool about this. Your financial success becomes directly tied to the success of your clients. The whole idea is that as your clients do better and grow, they'll be able and willing to retroactively reward you for your help, paying you more when they can afford to. It creates this amazing shared journey where you all grow together.
But of course, no model is perfect, right? These new approaches are great for avoiding the old traps, but they definitely come with their own unique challenges. So, let's do a quick reality check.
For businesses using that income-first model, you've got to do a ton of upfront planning before those customer commitments expire. And for freelancers with pay-by-capacity, there's a real risk that your wages could stay low if your clients don't end up growing. The key in both of these scenarios is being smart and building a really mixed, balanced customer base.
So, after looking at all this, what's the real takeaway? It's not just about learning a new business hack or a cool tactic. It's really about a fundamental shift in mindset.
Here's the most important point. That old, outdated, and frankly dangerous mindset of putting costs ahead of income, it doesn't have to be the default setting anymore. It can be replaced. We can actually choose to build our businesses and our freelance careers on a foundation of security and shared success, instead of just debt and blind hope.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. In a world where the old ways seem to be failing so many people, could these new systems, the ones built on solidarity and mutual benefit, be the answer? Is shared success truly the future of freelancing?